One thing that has struck me, and it's been weighing heavy on my mind, if I'm being honest with you, for about the last year or two, is how sad I see people are in this country. We can talk specifically about men. The numbers came out last year. We hit a record for suicides in this country. 40,000 men took their own lives. I talk to these people. I know you talk to these people. They email me. The lamentations of men in this country are weighing heavy on me. Why are we so sad?
Well, the reasons that oftentimes make men suicidal are different from those that make women suicidal. I don't know if you recently watched the breathtakingly tragic case of a principal in Ontario that took his own life because the woke mob came after him. Usually for men, it's lack of occupational opportunities, professional opportunities. It's inability to attract a mate, basic evolutionary drivers that if I don't succeed on, then I oftentimes regrettably think that checking out of life might be a better solution. And of course, what I try to argue in the book is that just that you exist is an incredibly improbable event. And so there are always a way out. There are always choices that we can make and mindsets that we can adopt that hopefully can get us out of the darkness. I had a very rough childhood growing up in Lebanon, and yet here I am talking to Jesse Kelly. I'm infinitely grateful for the opportunities that life has afforded me, and anyone can access that kind of mindset.
I love what you just said, especially about the mate and the job thing. Is it true that young men these days, am I just old and old-fashioned and I just happen to barely miss this window, that they can't seem to make it? Career-wise, love life-wise, they really can't make it now? Has society degraded to the point where they really can't?
Well, I often receive actually emails from women lamenting the fact that where are the men who approach us, right? We get dressed up, we're ready to mingle, and yet men are terrified to approach us. Now, one of the reasons for that, Jesse, is that, when you start damaging the natural courtships that take place between men and women, if you approach a woman and you compliment her, it becomes a form of sexual harassment, then it's not surprising that a lot of men no longer know what to do, right? And that's why I get those emails from women saying, hey, why are guys afraid to approach me? What happened to the guys who would try to seduce me and try to court me? Where are all those men? So that's one of the problems that second wave feminism created by arguing that, men and women are indistinguishable from each other. That which men can do, women can also do. That's not a recipe for happiness. Yes, we're equal under the law, but we're not indistinguishable creature. There are things that men do well, other things that women do well. We complement one another. We're not constantly pitted against each other.
Can you talk about the anti-fragility? You talk about this in your book, and I love this, and how there's a direct connection between that and the happiness.
Right. So I basically argue that if you look at all of the greatest of all time in different fields, Michael Jordan was cut from his sophomore high school team. Lionel Messi, the greatest soccer player of all time, was told that he's too small to even be a professional soccer player. J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, was rejected by every publisher until the final one that accepted her. Steven Spielberg was rejected not once, not twice, but 3 times from the USC Film School. But in each of those cases, they were anti-fragile to failure. In other words, even though they faced the stressor of having failed and rejected, they got back up on the proverbial horse and they succeeded. And so that's what I argue when I say that we need to be anti-fragile to failure. And I use a quote by Seneca, the ancient Greek Stoic from more than 2,000 years ago, who argued that the strongest trees, the ones that have the deepest roots, are those that are exposed to strong wind stressors, because that makes them non-brittle. You need to be exposed to those stressors in order to succeed in life. And hence, that's what I mean by anti-fragile to fragility, to failure.
So men need to seek out challenges. I talk about this all the time. You can't get confidence without going through hard things. You can't compliment someone into being confident. You can't love them into being confident. Either you go through hard things and you come out the other side, or you won't be confident. And I don't think there's a second way. Gad, am I wrong?
You're exactly right. When I was looking for topics to study in my undergraduate degree, I specifically picked mathematics, not because I thought that I would become a professor of mathematics, but my mindset was, what is the topic that is accepted as the most rigorous, most technical, the one that would allow me to develop my analytical thinking best? And I chose the path of most resistance. When I ran marathons, it wasn't that I wanted to be a marathoner. I just thought, oh boy, that's going to beat the hell out of me. Let's sign up. I want to do it. So you face those stressors, you come out on the other hand, and hopefully that prepares you well for life.
Amen. The book is The Sad Truth About Happiness. Sounds like America needs that right about now. Gad, thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Jesse. Cheers.
I have great news. If you enjoyed that, I have a YouTube channel you can subscribe to. Whatever I do, it'll be right there on YouTube. So go subscribe today.